Spent $1 on an old space container. It was full of sleeping alien beauties. The Galactic Surplus Auction on Proxima Station was where dreams and nightmares were sold to the highest bidder, or in my case to the only bidder. Most attendees were hunting for military-grade tech, or rare minerals. Nobody gave a second glance to Lot 437, a battered cargo container with faded markings from the defunct Orion Transport Corporation. One credit I called out more from boredom than interest. The auctioneer, a portly man with cybernetic eye implants, looked almost offended by my bid. One credit from Commander Jack Harmon, he announced with a sigh. Going once twice sold to the gentleman with questionable taste. The small crowd chuckled. I shrugged, adjusting my tactical vest. After 15 years in the Terran Defense Force, I developed an instinct for overlooked value. Besides my military pension, covered frivolous purchases, and my new salvage business needed inventory, delivery coordinates. The auction assistant asked, her holographic clipboard hovering between us. Docking Bay 17, please. My ship's the Redemption. An hour later, I watched as station drones maneuvered the massive container toward my modest salvage vessel. The container was larger than I'd expected, at least 20 m long and 5 wide. Its exterior was scorched from atmospheric entry with peculiar dents that suggested internal pressure rather than external impact. My curiosity piqued. I decided to inspect my purchase before loading it onto the Redemption. The container's access panel was military grade, requiring both physical and electronic keys. Fortunately, TDF training included breaking into exactly this type of lock. Come on, you stubborn bastard, I muttered, bypassing the security protocols with my multi-tool. The panel finally beeped in surrender, and the massive door began to slide open. With a hydraulic hiss, cold vapor poured out, momentarily obscuring my vision. As it cleared, I froze in disbelief. Inside, arranged in 2 neat rows of stasis pods, were 20 humanoid figures, women, or at least female-appearing aliens with skin in vibrant hues I'd never seen on any sentient species. Their pods were transparent, revealing slender figures clothed only in what appeared to be standardized light gray undergarments. Their faces were peaceful and suspended animation, unnervingly beautiful in their alien perfection. Holy shit, I whispered, my voice echoing in the cavernous container. A soft chime sounded, and the nearest pod began to open. The stasis field dissipated, and the woman inside, her skin, a deep, rich crimson, stirred. Her eyelids fluttered open, revealing startling violet irises that immediately locked onto mine. She sat up slowly, her long white hair cascading down her shoulders like liquid silver. Where are we? She asked in perfect standard English, her voice melodic but cautious. And who are you? I swallowed hard, suddenly aware of how I must appear. A human male in military surplus clothing, armed and alone. I'm Jack Harmon. This is Proxima Station. I just bought this container at auction. Her eyes widened. Bought? You purchased us? No, I mean, I didn't know you were inside. I thought it was just cargo. I holstered my sidearm to appear less threatening. What's your name? How did you end up here? She stood gracefully despite what must have been years in stasis. I am Wiwira. We are she. Paused, looking around at the other pods. We were being transported by Tory slavers. Our ship must have been attacked. Her voice hardened. They would rather abandon us than risk capture with living evidence of their trade. More pods were beginning to open now, the container filling with confused voices and the hiss of decompressing stasis fields. Women with turquoise, emerald, and sapphire skin were awakening, all watching me with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Slavers. I felt a surge of anger that's been illegal in Terran space for centuries. Hura's lips curved in a bitter smile. The galaxy is vast. Commander Harmon, laws are only as effective as their enforcement. I made a quick decision. You're free now, all of you. I'll help you contact your people, get you home. Home no longer exists for many of us. Ruse said softly. The Taurans don't leave witnesses when they raid colonies. The implications hit me like a plasma bolt. These weren't random captives. They were survivors of destroyed worlds with nowhere to return to, and I just become responsible for 20 refugee alien women with a single credit bid at a surplus auction. Then we'll figure something out, I said, trying to project confidence. I didn't feel first things first, let's get you all somewhere. Safe and comfortable, my ship isn't large, but it's better than this container. We are studied me intently, her violet eyes seeming to peer into my soul. Why would you help us? You owe us nothing. I thought about my years in the TDF, the battles fought, the comrades lost, all in service of protecting the innocent. Because it's the right thing to do, I answered simply, and because I've spent too many years fighting, maybe it's time. I tried saving instead. She nodded slowly, a genuine smile transforming her face. Then we accept your help, Jack Harmon, and perhaps in time we may offer you ours in return. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but watching Hudra help her companions from their pods, I knew one thing for certain: my life had just changed forever. The Proxima station security office was a sterile, windowless room that smelled of antiseptic and bureaucracy. I sat across from Chief Administrator THRL Nexer, a Centurion, whose 4 amber eyes studied me with obvious suspicion, his grayscaled skin furrowed around his breathing slits as he scrolled through my documentation with elongated fingers. Let me get this straight, Commander Harmon, Nexer said, his translator converting his clicking native language into standard English. You accidentally purchased 20 alien females at auction, and now you're trying to register them as refugees. I purchased a cargo container, I corrected. I didn't know they were inside, and yes, they're survivors of Tory and slave raids. All 4 of Nexer's eyes narrowed simultaneously. Convenient story, especially given the nature of these aliens. What's that supposed to mean? I asked, though I knew exactly what he was implying. Come now, Commander, 20 attractive humanoid females, all conveniently compatible with human physiology. He leaned forward, his scales shifting color slightly. The Chromasians are well known for their adaptability to human preferences. Their pheromones alone make them highly sought after in certain markets. My jaw tightened. They're people, not commodities. Of course, Nexer said, raising his 4-fingered hands placatingly, but you understand my position, a former military man with a small salvage operation, suddenly in possession of extremely valuable sentient cargo. The optics are concerning. I'm not a slaver, I said flatly. Then you won't mind if we detain you while we investigate his mouth parts. Clicked in what passed for a Centurion smile, standard procedure. Before I could respond, the door slid open. Wiwira entered, followed by 2 Centurion security officers who looked both flustered and entranced. She'd changed from the gray undergarments into a simple jumpsuit found in my ship stores. Even in the utilitarian clothing, she carried herself with unmistakable dignity. This man speaks the truth, she announced, her melodic voice filling the room. I demand to speak on his behalf. Nexer's breathing slits flared rapidly, clearly affected by her presence. Chromasian pheromones, I realized on they weren't just rumors. This is an official investigation, miss. You'll need to wait outside. Wire a step closer, her violet eyes intense. I am Wire Vashel, daughter of High Counselor Marin Vostel of the Chromasian Diplomatic Corps. Before our colony was attacked, I was training to follow in my father's footsteps. Nexer's scales shifted to a paler shade instantly. A diplomat's daughter. Why didn't you say so earlier? Because I've been in stasis for 3 years, she replied coolly, and then because I needed to confirm certain facts before revealing my identity. She placed a data crystal on his desk. This contains my diplomatic credentials and biometric markers. You'll find they match your records, though they may be somewhat outdated. While Nexer verified her information with his upper limbs, manipulating the station's interface, Hura caught my eye and gave me a subtle wink. I fought to keep my expression neutral, though my heart rate had inexplicably accelerated. Everything appears to be in order, Nexer finally admitted, his voice resonating with reluctant clicks, though this doesn't entirely explain your situation. Commander Harmon rescued us, Heira stated firmly, under Galactic Accord Section 17. He is entitled to salvage rights for the container, but not for sentient beings. We are now free individuals under his protection as our rescuer. Nexver's breathing slits contracted. That's a rather liberal interpretation of salvage law. Perhaps you'd prefer I contact what remains of the Chromasian government, Wyra suggested. I'm sure they'd be interested to hear how Proxima Station treated survivors of a genocide. The administrator scales blanch to an almost white color. That Won't be necessary. I'll process your refugee status. Immediately, after completing the paperwork, we left the security office in the corridor. I turned to Wura with newfound respect. Diplomat's daughter, how you didn't mention that, before her lips curved into a smile. There are many things I haven't mentioned, Jack Harmon. As we walked back toward the docking bay, I became acutely aware of her proximity. A subtle, intoxicating scent emanated from her. Like cinnamon and something alien, I couldn't identify the Centurion administrator. Wasn't entirely wrong, said softly, about cremations. I mean the pheromones, she nodded. My people evolved to form strong bonds. Quickly, it's biological, a survival mechanism from our harsh home world. Emotional and physical connections help us adapt to new environments. Is that why? I feel I trailed off, unsure how to describe the magnetic pull I felt toward her. Attracted, she finished, her violet eyes meeting mine. Partly biology, yes, but not entirely. We stopped walking, standing close in the empty corridor, too close for strangers, not close enough for what my body was suddenly demanding. The others feel it too, she continued. Our connection to you, it's unusual for all of us to respond to the same individual. And what does that mean? I asked, my voice rougher than intended. Wire placed a hand on my chest, her touch sending electricity through me. It means you're special, Jack Harmon, and that our journey together will be interesting. The moment was interrupted by my communicator beeping. The other chromosians had finished their processing and were waiting at the ship. We should go, I said reluctantly. Wera nodded, but before stepping away, she leaned forward and whispered, among my people, saving a life creates a bond that transcends ordinary relationships. You saved 20 of us. Think about what that means. As we resumed walking, my mind raced with implications I wasn't prepared for and possibilities I'd never dared imagine. The redemption wasn't built for 20 passengers. My salvage vessel had one cabin, mine, and a small common area that doubled as the galley. As we departed Proxima Station, the cremasians adapted to the cramped quarters with surprising grace, arranging sleeping areas throughout the ship. Wera had taken the co-pilot seat beside me on the bridge, studying the navigation controls with keen interest. The other cremasians, each uniquely beautiful with their varied hues of skin, had quickly organized themselves into shifts for sleeping, eating, and learning ship operations. Your species adapts quickly, I observed, setting course for the nearest coalition outpost. Wera's violet eyes sparkled. It's not just biological. Cremasians value harmony above all. In tight quarters, disharmony is inefficient. Efficient harmony, I chuckled. You'd have made excellent soldiers. We prefer diplomacy, she replied, then hesitated. Jack, there's something you should know. As the daughter of a high counselor, I must formally report the Taurian attacks on our colonies. The coalition needs to know what happened. I nodded. That's why we're headed to Arctur Station. They have a coalition embassy. Thank you. Her crimson fingers brushed against mine on the control panel, sending a jolt of electricity through my body. There's something else. A collector named D. Seymour has been tracking us since we left Proxima. I straightened in my seat. How do you know Nia, the one with turquoise skin, worked in communications before her capture? She detected encrypted transmissions following our departure. As if summoned by her name, Nia entered the bridge. Unlike Wera's regal bearing, Nia moved with a playful energy that reminded me of ocean waves. Commander, she said, her voice musical, I've analyzed the transmissions. They're definitely Vexian in origin. Vexians? I frowned. They're mercenaries for hire. Divac Mur is known for his collection of rare sentient beings. Wera explained. Cremasians are now exceptionally rare. Nia stepped closer, her turquoise skin almost luminescent under the bridge lights. We've discussed this among ourselves, she said, exchanging a meaningful glance with Wera. We won't be hunted again. No one's hunting you while I'm around, I promised. Her expression softened. That's why we've decided to formalize our bond with you. Your bond among cremasians, Nia explained. When someone saves our lives, we form a life debt. It's more than gratitude. It's a biological imperative. I didn't save you to create any obligation, I protested. Wera placed her hand on my arm. It's not obligation, Jack. It's connection. Our people form collective bonds. It's how we survived on a world with limited resources, 20 individuals working as one, and now we've bonded to you. Nia added, her eyes reflecting the Starlight from the view screen, the implication struck me, all of you, that's. Nada, I mean humans don't typically form multiple partnerships. Heira finished a smile playing at her lips. We know. But you're not on Earth anymore, Commander. The ship's proximity alarm interrupted the increasingly heated conversation. A sleek vessel had dropped out of FTL, traveled directly in our path. Incoming transmission, Nia announced her playfulness, vanishing a holographic image, materialized a Vexian male with characteristic silver skin and pointed features, his eyes solid black orbs. Regarded me coldly. Commander Harmon, he said, his voice artificially modulated. I represent Dravik, Mer, premier collector of unique biological specimens. My employer offers 5 million credits for your cremation cargo. They're not cargo. I replied evenly. There, under my protection. The Vexian's expression didn't change. 10 million, then final offer. Not interested. Unfortunate. The Vexian side will be boarding your vessel shortly. Resistance will only damage the merchandise. The transmission ended. I immediately activated the ship's defensive protocols, such as they were. The Redemption was a salvage vessel, not a warship we need to run, I said, plotting an evasive course. Heira exchanged another look with Nia. There's another option, she said. If we complete the bonding ritual, our collective consciousness will strengthen. Cremations, in a fully bonded state, can enhance certain abilities. What kind of abilities? Telepathic coordination, Nia explained. Heightened reflexes, shared perception. And this ritual? I asked, suspicion growing. Weira's crimson skin darkened slightly. A cremation blush. It's unintimate by human standards. Quite intimate. Understanding dawned. You mean? Yes, Hura confirmed. Physical union is part of it with all of us. I stared at them, momentarily speechless. That's your solution to a mercenary attack, not a group bonding ritual. It's not just physical, Nia insisted. It's a psychic link that would allow us to defend ourselves collectively. The ship shuddered as the Vexian vessel locked a tractor beam on us. We had minutes at most. There must be another way, I said. Though part of me, a very insistent part, was already considering their proposal. Hura took my hand. Jack, this isn't just about survival. Our people believe that true bonds are formed through choice, not obligation. We choose this. Choose. I looked from her earnest violet eyes to Nia's hopeful expression, then to the other cremations who had gathered at the bridge entrance, their varied hues creating a living rainbow. I don't know your customs, I admitted, but where I come from we don't rush into bonds sometimes. Wyra said softly, the universe gives us exactly what we need, even if it's not what we expected. The ship lurched again. Decision time. Everyone strap in. I ordered, sliding into the pilot seat with practiced ease. This is going to get rough. The cremations scrambled to secure themselves as I disengaged the autopilot. The Redemption wasn't built for combat maneuvers, but 15 years in the Terran Defense Force hadn't been wasted on me. Jack, what are you doing? Heira asked, fastening herself into the co-pilot's chair. I flashed her a confident grin, something stupid and human. With a sharp twist of the controls, I cut power to the main thrusters. The sudden deceleration caused the tractor beam to overshoot, momentarily breaking its hold. In that split second, I diverted all power to the starboard maneuvering jets, sending us into a controlled spin directly toward the nearby asteroid field. You're flying. I paced the bridge, weighing options that seemed equally impossible. My human upbringing rebelled against the idea of bonding with multiple partners, yet something deeper, perhaps more primal, found the prospect intoxicating. If we do this, I said finally, what exactly happens? Kira stepped closer, her emerald skin glowing under the bridge lights. The ritual begins with a meditation to align our energies, then comes the physical union, which catalyzes the psychic bond. Afterward, Ania continued, we'll be connected on a level most species never experience. We'll sense each other's emotions, share strengths, compensate for weaknesses. Like a living circuit, I murmured. Precisely, Huera confirmed, and in practical terms we could help you pilot this ship beyond its design limitations enough to reach Arcturus before Morn catches us. The ship's computer chimed, updating the pursuit trajectory. The Vexians had increased speedo. We now had less than 90 minutes decision time. All right, I said, surprising myself with the certainty in my voice. Let's do it. The atmosphere on the bridge shifted instantly. The air seemed to thicken with anticipation, and something else, a subtle vibration that I felt rather than heard. Will need the central chamber, Wira, said her voice, taking on a formal quality. Nia, prepare. The harmonics, Kira, the essences, as the Cremasians moved with purposeful efficiency. I set the ship on autopilot and followed Wira to what had become our communal living space. The other women had already rearranged the area, creating a circular space in the center. Should I do anything? I asked, suddenly feeling out of my depth. Wira smiled, her crimson skin darkening slightly at the cheeks. Just be present, open, the rest will follow naturally. The Cremasians gathered in the circle of their varied hues, creating a living rainbow. They began a low harmonic humming that resonated in my chest. Nia approached with a small vial of iridescent liquid. This will help you perceive the bond, she explained, placing a drop on my tongue before I could question it. The effect was immediate, not intoxicating, but clarifying, as though a veil had been lifted from my senses. I could suddenly perceive the energy flowing between the Cremasians, pulsing threads of light, connecting them to each other. Wira took my hands, drawing me into the circle. Now we begin. What followed transcended physical intimacy. Yes, there was touch, an overwhelming symphony of caresses from 20 pairs of hands, 20 sets of lips, but it was the psychic connection forming between us that left me breathless. I felt their minds touching mine, tentative at first, then with growing confidence, memories flowed between us, my childhood on Earth, their lives on